What was your in a toxic family moment? I had my graduation from engineering the same day as my mother's birthday. I, of course, had nothing to do with the date choosing. My mother said I ruined her birthday, so she scheduled her birthday party to be on my actual birthday. Her birthday is March, mine is August. That's dedication to being a bitch. Hope life has been better otherwise. I don't talk with my mom anymore. That was just the last drop in a long list of small abuses. Life has been much better. Thanks 3. My dad screamed at me for 20 minutes when I was 11, called me a bitch, and told me to get the hell out of his house when I casually mentioned we seem to argue more than other families. Oh my gosh, are you doing alright? Actually, probably a lot better than I should be. Therapy, moving out, and a coming to Jesus moment for my dad has helped our relationship immensely, as well as him coming to terms with his own childhood trauma and learning how to cope with anger in a healthier way. It was a rough set of years, but I also know my story is best case scenario, so I try not to bring it up too often, since I know I'm in the minority and don't want others who are still dealing with their trauma to feel less than. When I moved in with my so and noticed she called her family for things I would never call my own for, because she actually likes them and doesn't see communicating with them as an obligation, but rather because she wanted them to be part of her everyday life. This is something I noticed with my husband too. He talks to his family almost daily and has a good familiar relationship with his parents. I talk to my family maybe twice a year, and it fills me with dread. Doing family stuff with him is hard, and it makes me uncomfortable to be around a normal family. Like I just don't know how to act, lol. I grew up in an incredibly unstable and violent family. I got out and haven't looked back. I'm 100% no contact now. My wife's family have group text chats. They FaceTime every week. They are in constant contact and clearly love each other. I don't even know how many nieces and nephews I have. It's been many years, but it still occasionally throws me for a loop. When my ex-sister-in-law broke into my house and started painting my living room while I was at work, apparently, she didn't like the color and that would just ruin her Christmas. Wait. What? Yup. She also used to break in and wear my clothes, sell my things without permission, give me veiled insults in front of people, demand money, talk bad behind everyone's back, lie about being abused, scam charities for struggling mothers for money/gifts, tell people her son was autistic when he isn't, claim to be illiterate/learning disabled for benefits, claim she was a genius, she dropped out of grade 9, and was the dumbest person I have ever met. I know education does not equal intelligence, but she was ducking dumb, cunning AMD manipulative, but dumb, closed bracket comma, paint her partner as an abusive scumbag to people, and have outbursts when she doesn't get her way. She also stole my ex's inheritance. She asked me if I had any clothes for her pregnant friend when I was very underweight due to anorexia. When she was a kid, she would lock herself in the bathroom to give herself bruises that she would blame on her brothers. For fun. I spent 6 years putting up with her antics and would get bootishes MYS's tear whenever I got upset. I have about, let's see, 8 million stories. She was a narcissist. What can I say? Eat a story. Told my mom I was depressed, and she basically told me to deal with it myself. That was 4 years ago, and I'm still having a shitty time of it. A while ago my mum saw my cuts. She pointed to them and said oh whilst pulling a sad face, then proceeded to carry on with her day. That's like a whole new level of insane. My mom said I love you at the end of a phone conversation when I was 22, and I realized it was the first time she ever said that. My dad said he was sorry for something he did for the first time in 27 years a couple months ago. I still tear up a bit when I reread his text. Hey, people change. I'd rather have someone apologize than ignore it ever happened. When my friend pointed out that most people are allowed to shower every day without having to negotiate it. That's so ducking strange. It's the type of unnecessary strange that makes me want to smash faces in. Please tell me you grew up in abject poverty, because only that would that type of behavior be understandable. Nope. Average middle class life. This continued until I was an adult with my own job contributing to expenses. 2. When my overly religious grandma tried to defend her blatant favoritism of my older sister by telling me that I was born evil. Man, duck your grandma. Christ, what an awful thing to say. I don't understand how that grandma think that God likes what she says, like a WTF. My birthday, I got you a pack of socks, but I realized I can get them cheaper from somewhere else, so I'm going to return them. My brother 2 weeks later, I think I'd like archery. Will you get me this $600 bow? Parents, oh hell yes, I never got the socks. I feel you, man. Had similar shit as a kid. My dad paid for my sister's dorm room supplies and her car payments, all the while refusing to pay for mine. When I realized what sex was and that my family shouldn't be doing it to me. Not kidding. Ducked up childhood. Bill Burr told a joke no one thinks they have an anger problem until they punch out the clown at their kid's birthday party. For whatever reason it really made me step back and ask, why the hell am I so angry all the goddamn time? Because my parents never wanted a kid, so they raised me like a dog. You've got treats. You've got toys. Food and shelter. Why do you keep bothering me? When I dropped out of high school I was practically goddamn feral. No social skills. No discipline, not even a personality. The end result of neglect and emotional abuse. It's been a real trip to experience a supportive, emotional and loving relationship for the first time as an adult though. I've really got the most wonderful wife on the planet. My mom makes up lies then makes me look like the liar. And this is why I haven't spoken to my mother in over a decade. My younger brother died of complications from COVID a couple of months ago. And I forced myself through a 10-minute conversation with her. 10 minutes of life wasted. Meeting regular parents and witnessing them actually be good to their kids. Help them, love them and teach them valuable lessons about life. Not yelling for every small mistake they did. Also now realizing that not every raised hand is about to hit you, sometimes it's there to pet you. But unfortunately for me, it wasn't the case. As a dad to a nearly 4-year-old I can imagine the mentality it would take to do that to a child. I'm sorry to hear it happened to you. Hopefully later life has turned out better. Rooting for you. Years ago I was in the hospital after getting stabbed in the abdomen. Went under and the EMS had to bring me back. Woke up in the hospital full of stitches, but still alive. I had a really great group of friends that came throughout the weeks of my being there. To the point that I got my own room. Because it was disturbing fellow patients I shared a room with and the staff were super nice about it. Only family member to visit was my younger sister, my mom, dad, other 4 siblings. None of them came, and my mom only phoned and communicated to me through the nurses, never speaking directly to me until I was back at home. And this was during a time where we actually had a decent, comparative to other times in life, relationship. When I was 15, my mother pushed me, causing me to fall through the glass door of our apartment building. I was cut very badly. I ended up with over 300 stitches and 100 staples. For 3 days nobody came to visit me. I didn't have friends. And then on the 4th day my mother showed up with a card. She stayed less than 5 minutes. When I opened the envelope, after she had left, I realized it wasn't a card at all, but a bill for the cost of replacing the window. When I got put in a children's home at 6 and the other kids there were scared of the stories I would tell about my home life. Gosh, that sounds terrible. I hope you're doing okay now. Every time I said I like this, or that, I got immediately criticized or questioned, or made fun of to make me feel like shit. Same place. I was in 2nd or 3rd grade and got mocked relentlessly because my favorite movie was Spirit, a stupid horse movie. And then even worse, when I wanted a horse plate for my birthday, I was embarrassed as a 7-year-old to like horses and ashamed to say a horse movie was my favorite. Sad. When my parents are arguing with each other, but then they just decide to come to my room and put all the blame on me, even though I have no idea what they are talking about. Just so I can feel guilty and they can throw all their responsibilities on me. This happens to me a lot, but when it does I just imagine they're telling me off for something very stupid, like so stupid that their opinion is completely invalid and it doesn't matter. My wife helped me come to the realization, out of myself and my 2 brothers, I was the only one to have never been arrested, yet I was the only my parents did not buy a car for. I had to be moved out of the house, 2 ducking states away, and teach myself how to drive illegally to get my driver's license. But my brothers were sure taken care of and driving to school on their own. I had my wife, girlfriend at the time, over to my parents for Christmas dinner. My mom offers me a glass of champagne about 2 months before my 21st birthday. No big deal, right? My stepdad proceeds to throw a temper tantrum about how I'm underage and not in his house and all this shit. Well, a couple months later found out he bought my little brother, his biological child, a bottle of high-end bourbon for his 18th birthday. When I was in the service they had a whole bunch of deep sea fishing trips and pro sports games they would go to without even so much as asking if I could come. They didn't come to my boot camp graduation that I offered to pay for, didn't see me off when I was deployed, wasn't there when I came back. Great times. Much more shit I can't think of right now. Whenever my mom would always tell me that I love my friends more than my family every time I get home from hanging out with my friends. Note that I seldom do leave the house to hang out with them, once every other week tops, because I'm mostly introverted. It's even worse if I go out for 2 consecutive days or more SMH. It's suffocating and stupid, really. It took my therapist using the word "My mom has had epilepsy since I was 1, I'm 24, and cognitive dysfunction. She's a toxic manipulator and my dad and brother have severe anger issues. I'm afraid of the latter 2 because they've been violent in the past. I'm struggling so much to get through the next year till I can move out. I can't wait to not walk on eggshells and not dread my days off work." When my mom yelled at me for being depressed, she was saying how rude and inconvenient it is for everyone around me that I was depressed. She was screaming so hard that her face was all red. She screamed at me frequently. She would always wait until I was in the car with her because I would be unable to leave. I stopped talking to her after that and she played the victim. She apparently was suffering because she was abandoned by her daughter. No one in my family wanted to hear my side of things. No one reached out to check in on me. I was made out to be the bad selfish daughter. Now, I don't have a relationship with anyone in my family. I cut both my parents off after I realized they both will not change or get help or see they ever did anything wrong. It's been tough to deal with the emotions of it all, especially the emotions I felt when I was younger and in their care. I've been working on it with therapy for a few years now, but it's been a necessary decision for me to cut those ties so I can focus on myself and my growth and healing the parts of me that have been broken from my past. In general, my siblings constantly criticize and mock me for everything I do. They will both gang up on me when all 3 of us are together. Christmas is no longer enjoyable. My dad abused my mom and my siblings as kids. He refuses to believe he ever did it. My mom saw my cuts and didn't try to get me help. I'm 17. I live with mom. Just me and her. Some days I think about going to live with my dad for a while, or with my sister when she offers. But then I remember either way I'll be unhappy. When I was 4 years old my mom told me that my parents divorced because dad was a drug/alcohol addict. She neglected to mention her own problems, but suffice to say I've been stuck in the middle of their drama for 31 years now as an only child. I remember my dad not showing up to my school's Thanksgiving and eating alone. I remember sitting in the car watching my parents scream at each other. This happened again in high school when they put me in a mental hospital and the therapist tried to do family therapy. Lol. Now they fight over my child. The day I joined a specialty school and was informed that it was not, in fact, normal for my father and brother to relentlessly mock me for my autism, Literally spent 15 years being called horrid things and being patronized for my interests. And I legitimately thought that was just what male family members did. Because my mother would never stop them. I married into a toxic family. My husband realized it when his sister attacked me, verbally out of the blue, to him for an hour. And then blamed him for making her husband hate the entire family. Everyone else in the family, who was within earshot, all claimed to have not noticed or heard anything. It was loud and long. They knew. He was pretty shell-shocked by the whole thing. It was ignored and never resolved or discussed. It's a very large family. I have been the black sheep ever since, even though I wasn't even in the fight. I would actually take responsibility for anything if I knew what made her so mad at the time. I apologized to her and she has never even admitted anything happened. She was having a really tough time in her marriage and is now divorced. We didn't live in town, so each visit was a nice pleasant, and we all got along fine prior to this. I was 9, and I was really nice to poor guy selling shirts out of the back of his truck. My dad pulled me away and told me directly, it's great to be nice to people, Chris, but be mean too. You want people to be a little scared of Jalvin at 9. I was like, bruh, that's not great, and it really was an interaction that shaped our relationship. I went on to teach, have a vibrant friend group. Every year a dozen of us meet up for New Year's, and we're in the 10th year this year. And generally I love people. It's in my work and in every fiber of my life. He died alone of an overdose about 10 years ago. The funeral would have been basically empty if not for all the friends who came to console me. Hey, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.